I hired a private investigator to check on my fiancée's no-phones bachelorette party, but when her parents showed me what they saw at our rehearsal dinner, everything I knew about love, loyalty, and trust fell apart right before the wedding. I still can't believe you're getting married, man, Daniel said, raising his beer as the sunset burned through the window behind him. Ethan Cole, the guy who once swore he'd die single. I laughed softly. Yeah, I guess. Love makes fools out of everyone. He leaned back in his chair. Or maybe it just blinds them. I smirked. You're not about to give me one of your cynical speeches again, are you? Not tonight, he said, though his grin told me he was tempted. So, how's Lauren holding up? You still doing that no phones bachelorette trip thing? I hesitated before answering. Yeah, she leaves tomorrow. Miami for 3 days. No phones, no messages. Just her and the girls. Daniel raised an eyebrow. No phones? That's weird. What is this, 2005? She said she wanted everyone to disconnect, I replied, quoting her exact words. No distractions, no drama. Just time to breathe before the wedding. He laughed. Sounds like a cult retreat. I tried to laugh with him, but something in my chest twisted. She's not like that, I said quietly. I didn't say she was, Daniel replied, his voice softening. I just think it's unusual. But hey, maybe I'm just jealous. I nodded, pretending his joke eased the tension. My phone buzzed, and Lauren's name lit up on the screen. Speak of the devil, I said, picking up. Hey, babe. Hey, handsome, she said, her voice sweet and soft. You at the bar with Daniel? Yeah. Just having one drink. You all packed? Almost. Just making sure I don't forget my swimsuit, she teased. Daniel mouthed, lucky guy, and I rolled my eyes. I smiled into the phone. You sure you're okay with no contact for 3 days? You know I'll miss you. You're so dramatic, she said, laughing. It's just a few days, Ethan. Besides, you'll be too busy freaking out over seating charts and napkin colors. I already freaked out about those, I replied. She giggled again, but there was something faint in her tone, like she was saying lines she'd rehearsed. I love you, she said softly. I love you too. When the call ended, Daniel leaned forward. You trust her, right? Of course, I said too quickly. Why wouldn't I? He shrugged. No reason. Just asking. I stared down at my glass. We've been together 3 years. She's never given me a reason not to. He gave a slow nod, but his silence felt heavier than words. That night, when I got home, Lauren was sitting on the couch, folding clothes into her suitcase. She looked radiant. Even in sweatpants, blonde hair tied up, her smile calm and picture-perfect. You're quiet, she said without looking up. Just tired, I lied. Big week ahead, she said, glancing at me. Can you believe it's finally happening? I can, I said. Feels unreal. Though. She smiled. You're the one who made it real. I walked over, sitting beside her. You remember the day we met? How could I forget, she said, laughing. You spilled coffee on my laptop. And you said, if you buy me a new one, I might forgive you. She grinned. You actually did. I was terrified you'd never talk to me again. I liked that you cared, she said. Most guys would have just apologized and walked away. Maybe I should have, I teased. She threw a shirt at me. You love me too much for that. I do, I said softly. More than I probably should. She looked at me for a moment, her expression unreadable. You make me believe in love again, she whispered. Something about the way she said it made my chest ache. That's good, right? Of course, she said quickly, but her eyes darted away. Hey, help me find my charger. I got up, still watching her. Lauren, are you okay? She paused. Why wouldn't I be? I don't know, I said. You just seem distant lately. She laughed, a bit too loud. You're imagining things. I'm just stressed. Wedding stuff, you know. Yeah, I said, though it didn't sound convincing even to me. When I found the charger, she kissed me softly. Stop overthinking, Ethan. Everything's perfect. Yeah, I murmured. Perfect. She smiled and went back to packing, humming a tune I didn't recognize. I stood there watching her, feeling like I was looking at a painting instead of a person, something beautiful but flat, without depth. The next morning, I helped her load her bags into the car. She hugged me tight. Don't miss me too much, she said. Too late, I whispered. She kissed me once more and got in. As the car pulled away, she waved through the window, her hand trembling slightly. Daniel's words echoed in my head, you trust her, right? I tried to shake it off. She was my fiancée. My best friend. My future. Still, something in me, something quiet and stubborn, kept whispering, something's wrong. When I got back inside, the silence of our house felt louder than ever. I stared at her half-empty closet, her perfume still hanging in the air. For the first time since I proposed, the thought crossed my mind, what if love isn't about trust? What if it's just about pretending you don't see the cracks until they break you completely? I poured myself a glass of water. But my hands were shaking too much to drink. And deep down, I already knew, this calm wouldn't last. I just think it'll be fun, Lauren said, tossing her hair as she zipped her suitcase. No phones, no social media, no constant checking messages. Just the girls, a little wine, and the ocean. I leaned against the doorway. No phones? You're serious? Completely, she said. We all agreed. It's supposed to be a detox thing. I frowned. Lauren, it's a bachelorette trip, not a meditation retreat. She laughed lightly. You worry too much, Ethan. It's just 3 days. Yeah, I said slowly. 3 days. With zero contact doesn't sound like just anything. Her eyes softened. You really can't survive 3 days without me? That's not it, I said. I just like knowing you're okay. She walked over, placing her hands on my chest. I'll be okay. Promise. I looked at her for a long second, trying to read what was behind that smile. So, no phone at all? Well, she said with a smirk. Sophie will keep hers for emergencies. But we all agreed not to use them unless it's life or death. Life or death? I repeated. Sounds a little dramatic. She giggled, pulling away. You'll be fine, Ethan. Go play video games or whatever you guys do when we're gone. I don't play video games. Exactly, she said, grinning. Find a hobby. Her words stung more than they should have. Okay, I said finally. Have fun, then. She kissed me on the cheek. You're adorable when you worry. When she left the room, I just stood there, staring at her half-packed suitcase. Something in my stomach didn't sit right. The next morning, Daniel called while I was making coffee. Yo, future husband. Ready for the bachelor party? Yeah, I guess, I said. You sound thrilled, he said. What's wrong? She's doing a no phones thing on her trip. There was a short pause. That's new. Right? I said. Like, who does that? She say why? She said she wants to disconnect, I muttered, air quoting even though he couldn't see. Daniel sighed. Man, don't overthink it. It's probably nothing. Probably, I said, though it didn't feel true. That evening, Lauren's friends came over to finalize plans. The house buzzed with laughter and perfume. I sat in the kitchen pretending to check emails. Sophie walked in to grab water. You okay, Ethan? You look tense. Just tired, I said. You excited for Miami? Totally. Haven't been there since college. I smiled faintly. Isn't that where Jake lives? Her hand froze mid-reach. Yeah. Why? I looked up. Nothing. Just remembered Lauren mentioning it once. Sophie cleared her throat. Oh. Yeah, he does. But I'm sure we won't run into him. Miami's big. Right, I said slowly. Big place. She gave a quick, awkward smile and walked out. My chest tightened. Jake. The ex she swore she blocked years ago. I walked into the living room. The girls were laughing over their itinerary. Everything good? I asked. Perfect, Lauren said. You sure you're okay with no contact? I forced a smile. Yeah, I trust you. Good, she said cheerfully. Because I need you to relax. I nodded, but my heartbeat said otherwise. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing Sophie's pause, seeing her face when Jake's name slipped out. Every time I closed my eyes, I pictured Lauren laughing with someone else, someone familiar. At 2 a.m., I got out of bed and sat on the couch. The silence of the house pressed on me like a weight. My phone screen glowed in the dark. You trust her, right? Daniel's words echoed in my head. I did. I thought I did. But something about this felt wrong. The no-phone rule. The sudden nervous smile. The timing. Everything lined up too neatly. I opened my contacts and hovered over Lauren's name. I wanted to call her, to ask, who's going to Miami? Who's really there? But I didn't. Instead, I searched something else. Private investigator, local. I scrolled through the results until one name caught my eye, Cole Mitchell, discreet investigations. The reviews mentioned, confidential, efficient, and brutally honest. Perfect. My hand trembled as I hit call. A rough voice answered, Mitchell. Hi, I need some help, I said, my throat dry. What kind of help? My fiancé's going on a trip, I said quietly. A no-phones trip. Something feels off. I need to know the truth. There was a short silence before he replied, You want surveillance? Yes. How long's the trip? 3 days. He exhaled slowly. Send me the details. Flight info, hotel, names if you have them. Okay. Mr. Cole. Ethan Cole. Mr. Cole, he said firmly, when people hire me, it's because they already know something's wrong. Are you sure you're ready to see it? I swallowed hard. I just need to know if she's who I think she is. Fair enough, he said. Text me what I need. I'll handle the rest. When the call ended, I sat there staring at the wall, my phone heavy in my hand. My pulse thudded in my ears. Lauren's laugh echoed in my memory, that light sound she made when she wanted to end a serious talk. You're adorable when you worry. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was being paranoid. But the way Sophie froze, the way Lauren avoided eye contact, it all felt like pieces of a puzzle I didn't want to finish. I leaned forward, pressing my palms against my eyes. What the hell am I doing? I whispered. Still, deep down, I knew I wouldn't take it back. I needed the truth, even if it broke me. When Cole texted, I have what you asked for, my heart stopped. I stared at the message for minutes, my thumb hovering over the screen before replying, bring them. He arrived that evening, punctual, calm, professional. A man who'd seen too much. The kind who didn't flinch when someone's world was about to end. "Mr. Harris," he said, stepping into my apartment. "You might want to sit." "I'm fine," I lied. My throat was dry. "Just show me." He placed a small envelope on the table, thick enough to feel heavy with truth. My fingers trembled as I opened it. The first photo hit like a brick. Lauren, my Lauren, was laughing. Her hair was wet, her cheeks flushed, her hand gripping a beer bottle. And next to her, Jake. They were sitting too close. His arm was around her. Her head was tilted on his shoulder like it used to be on mine. What is this?" I whispered. Cole's voice was steady. "Taken 2 nights ago. Miami Beach house party. She stayed there until 3 a.m. I flipped to the next photo. Jake's hand was on her waist. Then another, his lips brushing her cheek. And then the last one. Lauren, smiling through blurred lights, kissing him back. "No," I muttered. "No, she wouldn't, my breath broke. She told me she loved me. She told me." Cole didn't speak. He didn't have to. My pulse roared in my ears. Every heartbeat felt like a hammer. My body went numb, but my mind screamed. "This isn't her. She wouldn't do this." "She's drunk," I said. "She must have been drunk." "She was," Cole replied quietly. "But so was he. And that doesn't make it different." I stared at the photos again, my eyes burning. "It's not her," I said, even though her face filled every picture. Cole leaned forward slightly. "Sometimes love blinds us until pain teaches us sight." I clenched my fists, the paper crumpling under my grip. "Don't give me your philosophy. Just tell me what I'm supposed to do with this." He met my gaze. "You asked for the truth. Now you have it." I swallowed hard, pushing the photos back toward him. "Keep them." He shook his head. "They're yours. Whether you want them or not." I sat there, frozen. The room felt too quiet. My breath too loud. The air too heavy. Cole stood up. "If you need me again, you know how to reach me." When the door closed behind him, I just stared at the envelope. My reflection flickered in the glass of the photo frame on the wall, Lauren and me, smiling, sunburned, happy. The cruel symmetry of it made my stomach twist. I picked up the photo from the table again. My hand shook so badly I almost dropped it. "You said I made you believe in love again," I whispered. "Was that all a lie?" The silence didn't answer. Only the hum of the refrigerator filled the room, steady and mocking. I sank into the chair and buried my face in my hands. My mind replayed every memory, her laugh, her soft voice, the way she'd trace circles on my wrist when we watched movies. It all felt fake now, like scenes from a film I no longer recognized. I wanted to call her. To scream. To ask why. But I didn't. I couldn't. Instead, I sat there until the sun rose, the photos spread around me like ashes of something that used to be love. When my phone buzzed, it was Daniel. "Bro, you okay? You sound off." "I'm fine," I said automatically. "You sure?" "Lauren texted me last night. Said she's having the time of her life." My jaw tightened. "Yeah. I bet she is." Daniel hesitated. "You sound weird. Did something happen?" "Nothing," I said sharply. "Just tired." He sighed. "You've been tense since she left. You need to chill, man. She's not doing anything wrong." My throat burned. "Yeah," I whispered. "You're right." I hung up before he could say more. I couldn't handle another word. Hours passed. I didn't eat. Didn't move. I just stared at the last photo, Lauren kissing Jake, and tried to understand how something so beautiful had turned so cruel. I remembered the night I proposed to her. She'd cried. Told me she never thought she'd find someone like me. "You're my safe place," she'd said. My safe place had just become my prison. By evening, my anger finally surfaced. I grabbed the photos, crushed them in my fist, and threw them into the fireplace. The flames caught quickly, devouring them in seconds. The smell of burning ink filled the air. But it didn't feel like relief. It felt like a funeral. I sat there, watching the ashes rise, and whispered, I won't cancel the wedding. My voice cracked. I need her to tell me, I continued. I need her to look me in the eyes and say it. The fire dimmed, but my resolve didn't. I poured myself a drink, something strong, something that burned. The same way my chest did. Cole's words echoed in my head. Sometimes love blinds us until pain teaches us sight. If that was true, then tonight I'd learn to see. And what I saw terrified me. The restaurant lights were too warm, too soft, mocking almost. Laughter echoed from every corner, but to me, it sounded hollow. 2 days had passed since the photos, yet Lauren stood across the room, radiant, smiling like nothing had happened. Ethan, she called, her voice bright. Come meet my aunt, she's been dying to. I'll be there in a minute, I cut in, forcing a smile. My jaw ached from pretending. Daniel nudged me from behind. Man, relax. You look like someone stole your dog. I stared into my glass. Just tired. Tired? He laughed. You're getting married tomorrow. You should be glowing like her. Yeah, I muttered. Glowing. Lauren drifted closer, her perfume hitting before her words. You okay, babe? You've been quiet. Just thinking, I said. About what? She tilted her head, eyes too soft, too practiced. About how lucky I am, I lied. She smiled, that same perfect, rehearsed curve of lips. Then stop overthinking. Enjoy tonight. I wanted to say I saw you. I wanted to ask how could you. But instead, I nodded and took another sip of wine. Then her parents arrived, late. Everyone turned when the doors opened. Henry's face looked carved from stone, while Marlene's eyes were red, not from joy but from something heavier. Lauren frowned. Mom? Dad? You okay? They didn't answer right away. Henry walked straight to the table, his hand gripping his phone. Ethan, he said tightly. May I speak with you? My pulse spiked. Of course. But he didn't move toward me. He turned to his daughter instead. Lauren. Sit. Her smile wavered. Dad, what's going on? Marlene whispered, please, Henry. No, he said. They need to see this. The chatter around us dimmed. Forks stopped clinking. Every head turned. Lauren laughed nervously. Dad, you're scaring me. Henry's thumb tapped the screen. I got this last night. Someone sent it anonymously. He looked at me, then back at her. I didn't want to believe it. Lauren's voice trembled. Believe what? The sound that came next made my stomach drop. A familiar laugh. Hers. The video played on the phone screen, grainy but unmistakable. Lauren, in that same red dress. Jake's arm around her. Her laughter, soft and cruel, filling the silent room. Oh my God, someone whispered. Lauren's face drained of color. Turn it off, she said, voice breaking. Henry didn't. He just stared. This was during your bachelorette trip, wasn't it? She stammered, it's not what it looks like. I couldn't look away. The video looped, her laughter echoing. Every second felt like a blade. Marlene covered her mouth. Lauren. Please, Mom, she cried. I was drunk. I didn't. Drunk? Henry's voice rose. That's your excuse? I finally spoke. My voice barely a whisper. It's the same night. She turned toward me, eyes wide. Ethan, listen, please, it was a mistake. I don't even remember half of it. I laughed. It came out sharp, bitter. You remember enough to smile in that video. Tears welled in her eyes. You don't understand. Then explain it to me, I said. Explain why you're in his arms. The silence stretched. Everyone was watching, friends, family, strangers frozen mid-bite. The background music had stopped, leaving only her recorded laughter playing again and again, like mockery. Lauren finally whispered, "It meant nothing." I clenched my fists. It meant everything. Her father slammed his phone onto the table. "Do you realize what you've done? Dad, please." "No," he snapped. "You humiliated this man. You humiliated us." The air felt heavy. I wanted to disappear. Lauren reached for me, her hand trembling. "Ethan, I swear to you." I stepped back. "Don't. Please," she sobbed. It was one night, I was confused. Confused? I repeated. "You were engaged, Lauren. To me." She shook her head, crying harder. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "But you did," I said quietly. "You already did." Marlene was crying now too, whispering something to her husband that I couldn't hear. Daniel stood off to the side, eyes darting between us, unsure if he should intervene. The manager approached nervously. "Sir, maybe we should." "Not now," Henry said, waving him off. The video had stopped, but the silence it left was worse. Everyone was waiting, for me, for her, for some kind of mercy that wasn't coming. Lauren wiped her face, mascara streaking. "Ethan, I love you. Please believe me." I stared at her, every word breaking me further. "You don't do that to someone you love." She took a shaky breath. "I'll fix it. I'll make it right." "You can't unsee something like that," I whispered. She reached for my hand again. "Please." I didn't move. I couldn't. My voice came out hollow, cracked. "Why?" Her lips parted, but no sound came. Just tears. "Why him?" I said again, louder this time. "Out of everyone, why him?" "I don't know," she cried. "It just happened." Her father's face twisted with disgust. "You disgust me." Marlene sobbed. "Henry, stop." "No," he said, his voice shaking now too. "She needs to hear it." Lauren covered her face, sobbing into her palms. I stood there, staring at the woman I thought I knew, realizing she was already gone. Everyone around us stayed silent, holding their breath as if afraid to break what was left of mine. I finally turned away. "I can't do this," I whispered. "Ethan." Her voice cracked as I walked out. The doors closed behind me, muffling the chaos inside. Outside, the night air hit cold against my skin, but it was the first breath that didn't burn. Behind me, her laughter from the video still echoed in my head, soft, cruel, unforgettable. And I knew right then, the wedding was never happening. Lauren's scream echoed behind me as I pushed through the restaurant doors. I didn't look back. I couldn't. The night air was thick, sharp, cutting against my skin. "Ethan, wait." Daniel's voice chased after me. I didn't stop. "Don't." He caught up anyway, breathless. "Man, I don't even know what to say." That was. "Don't say anything," I muttered. "Just, don't." "She messed up, okay? But you shouldn't drive right now. You're shaking." "I'm fine." My hands trembled as I reached for my keys. "I just need air." "Air?" he asked softly. "Or distance?" I stared at him. "Both." He hesitated, eyes filled with pity I didn't want. "You want me to come with you?" "No," I shook my head. "Go back inside. Make sure her parents are okay." He sighed. "Ethan, you don't have to." I said go. My voice cracked. Daniel looked at me for a long second, then nodded. "Call me if you need me." I didn't answer. I just got in the car and drove. The city blurred past, neon lights, honking cars, laughter spilling from bars. All of it felt unreal. Like the world kept spinning while mine had stopped. I didn't have a destination. My mind was a storm. Every memory replayed like a cruel film, her laughter, her promises, her vows about forever. When I finally stopped, I realized where I was. The beach. The same spot where we'd had our first date 3 years ago. I got out and walked toward the water. The waves crashed softly, almost mocking me with their calm. I spoke out loud, voice barely above the wind. This is where she said she fell for me. The sound of the ocean swallowed my words, but I kept talking. She told me I made her believe in love again. I laughed bitterly. Guess I cured her too well. The wind whipped my hair, salt filling my mouth. I dropped to my knees in the sand, staring at the dark horizon. She took my love, I whispered, and made it a lie. My phone buzzed. Her name lit up the screen. Lauren calling. I stared at it until it stopped. Then it rang again. And again. I finally answered. What? Her voice cracked through sobs. Ethan, please. Let me explain. There's nothing left to explain. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did. My throat burned. You didn't just hurt me, Lauren. You buried everything we built. I was drunk. Stop, I snapped. Drunk doesn't make you love someone else. She started crying harder. Please don't hate me. I closed my eyes. I don't hate you. I wish I could. It'd be easier than this. I love you, she said weakly. Then you should have acted like it. There was silence on the other end, broken only by her sobs. I can't do this, I whispered. Goodbye, Lauren. Ethan, wait. I hung up. The quiet afterward was suffocating. I wanted to scream, to throw the phone into the sea, to erase every trace of her. Instead, I unlocked it. Our wedding album stared back, smiling faces, her in white, me in black. I scrolled through them slowly, like watching ghosts. Delete, I whispered. The first photo vanished. Then another. Then all of them. Every text. Every call. Every photo. Delete. 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 The screen went blank, and for a moment, so did I. The ocean roared louder, as if it understood. I stood up, staring at the horizon. You don't get to destroy me, I said out loud. Not anymore. The wind tugged at my shirt, cold and wild. She took my love and turned it into a lesson, I whispered. Maybe that's all love ever is, a lesson you pay for with your soul. The waves reached my feet, icy, numbing. I stepped closer until the water soaked my jeans. For a second, I thought about walking farther in, letting it all end right there. But then I heard my own voice, quiet, shaking. Not like this. I fell to my knees again, clutching handfuls of wet sand, letting the cold ground me. My heart felt like it was bleeding through my chest, but I was still breathing. Somehow, that felt like defiance. I sat there for what felt like hours, just listening, to the waves, the wind, the faint sound of my own breaking heart. The phone buzzed again. A message. Lauren, please. I need to see you. I deleted it without opening it. Another came. Ethan, please. I love you. Delete. Another. I'm sorry. Delete. I stared at the blank screen, then tossed the phone into the sand beside me. The sky was starting to lighten. Dawn creeping in, quiet and uninvited. I took a deep breath. You don't get to own my mornings anymore, I whispered. My voice broke halfway through, but I didn't care. The waves crept higher, washing over my hands, numbing them. For a brief moment, the pain dulled. I let the water take it, the memories, the lies, the ache. For a few seconds, it felt like peace. Then the tide pulled back, leaving only me again. Empty, but standing. I looked at the horizon, eyes burning. I'll heal, I said softly. Just not today. The wind carried the words away, but I meant them. I stood, brushing sand from my clothes, and walked back to the car. The beach behind me felt like a graveyard for everything I used to believe in. As I opened the door, I caught my reflection in the window, red eyes, hollow face. I'll be okay, I whispered. Eventually. Then I started the engine and drove away, leaving the ocean, and her, behind me. When I woke up, my phone was vibrating non-stop on the nightstand. Dozens of notifications stacked like falling dominoes, Texts, mentions, missed calls. I blinked through the blur of light and dread. Bro, check Twitter. Lauren's trending for all the wrong reasons. Are you okay, man? The messages poured in like pity disguised as curiosity. I scrolled once, and froze. There she was. Lauren. My girlfriend of 3 years, smiling in old photos while the captions underneath shredded her reputation. Screenshots. Exposed DMs, brands distancing themselves faster than rats off a sinking ship. A message popped up, Lauren calling. I stared at it. My thumb hovered. I didn't answer. A minute later, a voice note came through. Ethan, please listen. I know you've seen everything, but it's not what it looks like. I swear, I never meant to hurt you. Just call me back, okay? Please. Her voice cracked halfway through, like guilt trying to sound innocent. Another ping. Another voice note. I'm losing everything, Ethan. The sponsors pulled out. My manager says I might get blacklisted. I can't sleep. Please, just talk to me. You were the only one who really knew me. I played it once. Then again. Each time, her words sounded less like regret and more like panic. I finally typed a reply. One line. No emojis. No anger. Just truth. You showed me what love isn't. Then I hit send. And blocked her. The silence that followed felt heavier than any argument we'd ever had. I went downstairs. The morning sunlight hit the kitchen table, bouncing off the half-empty coffee mug from last night. My best friend, Jake, was already there scrolling through his phone. She's everywhere, man, he said without looking up. Everyone's talking about her. Good, I muttered, pouring coffee that tasted like burnt closure. You okay? I shrugged. Define okay. He set his phone down. You could have destroyed her months ago. You had proof. But you didn't. I didn't want revenge, I said. I wanted peace. But sometimes peace needs a little justice. Jake leaned back, smirking. So what now? You just walk away? I looked out the window. The city outside was buzzing, but inside, I felt strangely calm. No. Walking away is what she expected. I'm just getting started. Jake raised an eyebrow. You're serious? Completely. He chuckled. You sound like a man with a plan. I am. What's step 1? I sipped my coffee, feeling the bitterness coat my tongue. Step 1 was silence. Step 2 is truth. He frowned. Meaning? Meaning I'm not going to lie to protect her anymore. People deserve to know who they were following. Who they were buying from. Jake nodded slowly. She made her choices. She made her bed, I corrected. Now she can lie in it, with her followers watching. For a second, we both sat there in silence, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of morning traffic. Jake finally said, You think this will make you feel better? No, I admitted. But it'll make things right. He smiled faintly. Guess that's close enough. Later that day, I walked through the park, phone in hand, scrolling through the chaos she'd created for herself. People were dissecting her apologies, comparing timelines, calling her out for fake sponsorships. Every post was another nail in the coffin she built with lies. I should have felt satisfied. But part of me still remembered the nights she laughed against my chest, whispering things that now sounded rehearsed. I exhaled hard, pocketing my phone. Revenge isn't healing, I muttered under my breath. But I wasn't after healing. Not yet. By evening, her name had fallen from number 1 to number 5 on the trending list. The internet was already chasing new drama. But my work wasn't done. Jake texted me, You sure you want to keep going? I replied, She burned everything. I'm just holding the light to it. Then I opened my laptop. One file. One folder. Everything she thought I'd deleted, the receipts, the screenshots, the messages where she planned every move. Karma wasn't a storm you waited for. It was something you built yourself. And tonight, I was the architect. It had been a week since the chaos died down. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe I'd just learned to breathe through the noise. That morning, someone knocked on my door, soft, hesitant. When I opened it, I froze. "Martha?" I whispered. Lauren's mother stood there, her eyes swollen, her hands trembling as she clutched a folded envelope. She looked smaller than I remembered. "Ethan," she said, voice cracking, "can I come in?" I hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, of course." She stepped inside like the air itself was heavy. Her gaze moved over the quiet living room, the coffee table scattered with unread mail, the cold mug on the shelf. "I didn't know where else to go," she whispered. I tried to stay composed. "Would you like something to drink?" She shook her head. "No, thank you. I just needed to talk." I gestured to the couch, and she sat down carefully, clutching the letter tighter. "She hasn't eaten in days," she began. "Barely sleeps. Keeps staring at her phone like it's waiting to forgive her." I looked down. "That's not my problem anymore." "I know," Martha said softly. "But she's my daughter. And I can't watch her fade like this." Her voice broke. "She made a mistake, Ethan. A terrible one. But she's paying for it, every minute." I sighed. "Actions have consequences, Martha. You know that better than anyone." She nodded slowly. "I do. But I also know regret when I see it. She's drowning in it." The silence between us stretched until I couldn't stand it. "Why are you here?" I asked. She held out the letter. "She wanted you to have this." I stared at it but didn't reach for it. "Please," Martha whispered. "Just read it. Even if you never forgive her." I took the letter reluctantly. The paper was creased, damp from what looked like tears. Her handwriting, elegant but shaky, covered the page. I read the first line. "Ethan, I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know that I hate myself for what I did." I swallowed hard. I thought I was chasing love, but all I found was emptiness. Every message, every lie, it was like trying to fill a hole that only grew deeper. My chest tightened. My fingers trembled as I turned the page. "You once told me love was honesty, even when it hurts." I guess I failed both parts. I blinked away the sting in my eyes. "She's good with words," I muttered. Martha's voice was barely audible. "She means every one of them. She meant the things she said to me before, too," I shot back. "Words don't erase what she did. She knows that. She should." I folded the letter, sliding it back into the envelope. "I can't do this, Martha." She leaned forward. "She's destroyed herself, Ethan. The girl you knew, she's gone. What's left is guilt wearing her face." Her words cut deep. "I don't hate her," I whispered. "But I can't help her either." "You loved her once," Martha said softly. "Doesn't that mean something?" "It does," I admitted. "It means I learned how much love can hurt." Martha wiped her eyes. "You sound like a man trying to convince himself he's over it." "Maybe I am," I said. "But that's better than pretending I'm not." She nodded slowly. "I just thought if you read her words, maybe some part of you could see she's still human." "I never said she wasn't human," I replied quietly. "I just said she made her choice." Martha's lip trembled. "And yours?" "My choice," I said, my voice low, "was to stop being the one who gets broken." Tears slid down her cheeks. "She thought you'd never find out." "She underestimated me," I said. "Or maybe she overestimated herself." Martha stood, smoothing her coat with shaky hands. "You were good for her, Ethan. You were the best thing that ever happened to her." I gave a bitter laugh. "Funny. She didn't seem to think so." "She does now," Martha said softly. "But it's too late." I walked her to the door. She paused before stepping outside. "If she doesn't make it through this, would you want to know?" I hesitated. "No," I said finally. "Because if she doesn't, it's not because of me, it's because of what she became." Martha nodded, tears shining in her eyes. I hope you find peace. When the door closed, the silence pressed down like a weight. I looked at the letter again, creased, fragile, alive with regret. My hands shook. My heart didn't know whether to mourn or move on. She made her choice, I whispered to no one, and so did I. It had been months since everything burned down. The gossip, the anger, the sleepless nights, they all faded into a kind of silence I could finally live with. I was back at work, trying to rebuild my focus one project at a time. That's when Ava leaned over my desk one afternoon, smiling the way sunlight filters through blinds, soft but real. You still stare at spreadsheets like they insulted your family, she teased. I laughed, quietly. Maybe they did. You never know what data can hide. She tilted her head. Or maybe you just don't like silence. I looked at her. What makes you think that? Because I didn't either, she said, sitting across from me. After my breakup, I filled every quiet moment with noise, music, work, anything. Silence felt like guilt. I paused, surprised. You too? She nodded. Different story, same storm. Her honesty caught me off guard. Guess we both survived something messy. Yeah, she said, smiling faintly. But you walked through fire. I chuckled dryly. More like crawled through it. Some days I still smell the smoke. Ava folded her hands on the table. Do you ever think about her? Her question hit like a soft punch. Sometimes, I admitted. Not like before, though. It's strange, I used to replay everything, every word, every look. Now it's just static. Static, she repeated. That's healing. It means it doesn't control you anymore. I don't know if I'd call it healing, I said. It's more like emptiness that doesn't hurt. She smiled gently. That's exactly what healing feels like. I leaned back, staring at the window. The city outside was loud, car horns, laughter, chaos, but inside, it was peaceful. She taught me a lot, I said after a moment. Mostly what not to accept. What not to believe. What not to lose myself for. Ava nodded. Sometimes the person who breaks you teaches you how strong you are. I looked at her. Did you just quote a therapy book? She laughed. No. Just experience. Her laughter, God, it didn't sound like pain pretending to be joy. It was real. You sound like someone who's moved on, I said. Moving on isn't a line you cross, she replied. It's a choice you keep making every morning. I thought about that. I used to think revenge would make me feel better. Watching her fall apart, it should have been satisfying. But it wasn't. Ava leaned closer. Because revenge never fills what love empties. I stared at my hands. Yeah. Turns out peace feels better than winning. She smiled. Peace always wins quietly. We sat there in a rare stillness that didn't feel heavy. After a while, she asked, So, what do you want now? I hesitated. Peace. Simplicity. Maybe a weekend without my phone exploding with drama. She grinned. That's a start. And maybe dinner that doesn't involve microwave noodles? I laughed. You're judging my diet now? I'm saving your soul, she said, mock serious. Come on. Dinner on Friday. My treat. I raised an eyebrow. You asking me out, Ava? She smirked. No, I'm offering an emotional support meal. Sounds dangerously close to a date. Fine, she said, laughing. Call it whatever helps you sleep. Her laughter lingered long after she walked back to her desk. It was strange how light the air felt again. Later that evening, I found myself at the same beach where I'd once screamed her name into the waves. The sky was softer now, the water calmer. I sat there for a while, letting the wind move through me instead of against me. I took out my phone and scrolled past old photos, Lauren smiling, our plans, the fragments of a life that never truly existed. For the first time, I didn't delete them out of anger. I just looked, nodded, and locked the screen. Thank you, I whispered, to no one, to everyone, to the past. That night, Ava texted. Ava, you still alive? Me, barely. Trying not to burn dinner. Ava, see? You need me. Me, maybe I do. She sent a laughing emoji, then, you deserve good things, Ethan. Don't let the past convince you otherwise. I stared at that message for a while. I'd heard 100 versions of that line before, but coming from her, it didn't sound like pity. It sounded like truth. I replied, maybe I'm finally ready to believe that. When I set my phone down, I realized something had shifted. The ache that used to sit in my chest wasn't gone, it had just turned into something else. Acceptance, maybe. Or forgiveness, not for her, but for myself. Lauren's downfall had nothing to do with me anymore. It was her storm to drown in, her guilt to carry. I'd survived mine. I stood up, brushed the sand from my hands, and looked at the horizon. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel the need to look back. Ava's words echoed in my head. Sometimes the person who breaks you teaches you how strong you are. Maybe she was right. Maybe every ending isn't meant to hurt forever. Some endings are just the beginning of peace. The old chapel looked smaller than I remembered. Maybe it was the silence, or maybe I was finally big enough to see the truth behind what I'd once called love. The wooden doors creaked as I pushed them open. Dust floated in the sunlight, like ghosts refusing to leave. I stepped inside, alone. The air still smelled faintly of lilies, Lauren's favorite. I'd ordered hundreds of them once, thinking they symbolized purity. Now, they just reminded me how blind I'd been. The rows of chairs were stacked in the corner, the white ribbons gray with time. I walked slowly down the aisle, my footsteps echoing off the empty walls. For a moment, I could still hear the music that never played, the laughter that never came. I reached into my pocket and felt the ring. Cold. Heavy. Too familiar. This was supposed to be forever, I whispered. Guess forever has an expiration date. My voice broke the quiet, but no one answered, not even the ghosts of what could have been. I stared at the altar. You remember this place, don't you? I said softly, almost as if she were there. You stood here, smiling, saying you couldn't wait to be mine. The memory burned sharper than the salt air that drifted through the broken window. I used to think love meant giving everything, I continued. Turns out, it means keeping enough of yourself to survive when it's gone. The words came out steadier than I expected. I sat on one of the old benches, the wood creaking under me. Do you know what's funny? I said, half laughing. I used to picture our wedding every night. I even practiced my vows. Now, I can't even remember the sound of your laugh without wondering who else heard it too. Silence again. The kind that doesn't hurt anymore. I stood, walking toward the altar. The sunlight caught the gold band in my hand. I held it up, turning it between my fingers. You don't deserve to be buried in hate, I told it. You deserve to rest in peace, like everything else that used to mean something. My throat tightened as I placed the ring gently on the altar. This isn't your grave, I whispered to myself. It's your rebirth. The words hung in the air for a moment before the wind carried them away. I looked around one last time. The flowers, the faded drapes, the emptiness, it all felt like closure dressed in dust. Goodbye, Lauren, I said quietly. Not bitter. Not broken. Just done. Outside, the sky was overcast, but the air was warm. I stepped down the stone stairs and paused at the edge of the path. For a long time, I'd thought healing meant forgetting. But standing there, I realized it meant remembering without bleeding. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Ava. Ava, you disappeared. You okay? I smiled faintly before replying. Me, yeah. Just saying goodbye to a version of myself. She sent back a heart emoji. Simple. Quiet. Enough. I slipped the phone away and looked back at the chapel. The ring was still there, glinting faintly through the open door like a tiny sun refusing to die. I took a deep breath. For the first time, it didn't hurt to fill my lungs. As I walked away, the wind picked up, carrying with it the faintest sound, my own voice whispering from inside, maybe, or the echo of what I'd just let go of. Whatever it was, it didn't follow me. I reached my car, opened the door, and glanced at the horizon. The clouds were breaking apart, light slicing through in soft gold. Rebirth, I said again under my breath, testing how it felt in my mouth. It tasted new. The engine started, a low hum grounding me in the present. I took one last look in the rearview mirror. The chapel shrank into the distance until it was nothing but a blur, a memory no longer chained to pain. I drove forward. The road stretched wide and empty ahead of me, and for the first time since everything ended, I didn't feel lost. I felt alive. 6 months. That's how long it's been since Lauren vanished from my life. No texts, no calls, not even a passing, "How are you?" Just silence. The kind that used to hurt, but now, it feels like peace. It's a quiet evening when my phone buzzes. I almost ignore it, until I see her name. Lauren. For a moment, my chest tightens, like my heart doesn't know whether to run or stay still. My thumb hesitates above the screen before I finally open the message. "I'm sorry." 2 words. After everything, that's what she chooses. I stare at them for a long while, the screen lighting my face in the dark. I type back, "Sorry for what," and hit send before I can stop myself. The typing bubbles appear. Then vanish. Then appear again. "I lost everything," she finally writes. The job, the apartment, the friends who swore they'd be there. Even him. I exhale softly, leaning back on my couch. There was a time when that message would have shattered me. Now, it just settles. Like a book closing itself. "Lauren," I whisper under my breath, "you didn't lose me. You threw me away." My fingers hover over the keyboard. I type the words out, slowly, carefully, each one carrying a weight that once used to crush me. "You didn't lose me. You threw me away." Then, without waiting for her reply, I hit send. I watched the screen for a few seconds. The typing bubble flickers again, then disappears. Nothing else follows. For the first time, I don't care. I set my phone down beside me, leaning back into the soft silence of my apartment. Outside, the rain starts tapping against the window. I used to hate rainy nights, they reminded me of the night she left. But tonight, it feels different. The sound isn't haunting anymore. It's cleansing. A memory flashes, her laughter echoing through the kitchen, the scent of her shampoo on my pillow, the way she used to trace my palm like she was reading my future. I smile faintly. "Guess you were wrong, Lauren," I whisper. "My future turned out just fine without you." The phone buzzes again. One last message. "I never meant to hurt you. I thought I was choosing happiness." I let out a dry laugh. "You did," I mutter, "just not mine." My thumbs move again, calm, steady. We all make choices. Yours taught me how to live without someone I thought I couldn't. I press send. No more typing bubbles. No more excuses. Just silence. I scroll up through the chat, the months of begging, the unanswered messages, the anger, the confusion, the pain. All of it frozen on a screen like a graveyard of things that used to matter. And then, I do something I never thought I'd be strong enough to do. I delete it. All of it. Every message, every memory, every "I love you" that turned into an apology too late. When the chat disappears, the emptiness I expect never comes. Instead, there's lightness. Like setting down a heavy bag I've carried too long. I walk to the window. The city glows beneath the rain, light smearing softly across the glass. I breathe in, and for the first time in a long while, it doesn't hurt. My reflection stares back, tired, older maybe, but not broken. Just rebuilt. She said she lost everything, I murmur, half to myself. But maybe I'm the one who finally found something. I smile, small, but real. My phone stays silent on the table. No new messages. And that's exactly how I want it. I think back to everything, the fights, the betrayal, the nights I thought I'd never heal. But I did. Not all at once, not perfectly, but piece by piece. Pain didn't destroy me. It made me. It taught me that love isn't about staying, it's about surviving. About learning when to let go, when to walk away, and when to forgive, not for them, but for yourself. I whisper into the quiet, thank you, Lauren. Not out of bitterness, but gratitude. Because she taught me what not to accept, what not to settle for, and how to find peace on the other side of heartbreak. The rain outside eases into a drizzle. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolls like an ending exhale. I turn off my phone, pull the curtains, and sink into bed. The sheets are cold, but not lonely. Just calm. Before sleep takes me, I think one last time about her final message, those words, I lost everything. Maybe she did. Maybe losing me was her lesson. But mine? Mine was realizing that I never needed her to complete me. I only needed her to break me enough to see what I was capable of becoming. As I close my eyes, a faint smile lingers on my lips. The storm outside fades. The silence feels good, earned, deserved. And in that stillness, I know this isn't the end. It's the beginning of the version of me that finally made it through.